A tough veteran named Andrei has endured years of war and now walks home from Laos to Moscow. While passing through a small town, he breaks a local rule: you may ask questions but never answer. Two policemen stop him and demand his papers. One officer checks his belongings and notices something under his leather jacket. Suspicious, he asks about it. Andrei opens his jacket and shows a large knife. The policemen panic. He explains that he has a permit, but they take the knife anyway. They see it as a kukri, a traditional Nepalese army blade. Without hesitation, they handcuff him. The street grows quiet. This is Flint. One officer swings a baton at Andrei. He dodges with ease. The second officer attacks and is pushed to the ground. Realizing he is no ordinary traveler, they pull their pistols and force him into a car. Andrei goes along without a word. One officer strikes his back with the baton. Andrei stays silent and glares at them. At the station, they confiscate his belongings and keep him cuffed. The building looks official but feels like a den of thieves. Officers there extort the townspeople for protection money and share the profits. A captain enters the cell and demands an explanation. Andrei stays silent. The captain grows angry and strikes him with a baton, drawing only a faint groan. He presses the weapon to Andrei's face and yells for a response. Andrei gives only a cold stare. The captain beats him harder and pulls out a stun baton. Andrei finally reacts. He lunges, knocks the captain down, and holds the advantage until other officers rush in. The fight stops, but the damage is done. The police call the deputy director. Seeing the sharp kukri knife, the deputy asks why Andrei carries it. Andrei answers with one word: enemy. The deputy laughs, thinking it a joke. Moments later, the police director Oleg enters. He is the only one to stay calm. He orders the handcuffs removed and checks Andrei's identification, shocking the room when he reveals that Andrei is a major in the special forces. The officers who mistreated him feel immediate regret. Oleg returned Andrei's belongings. The situation seemed under control until Oleg made a critical mistake and kept Andrei's MP3 player. Andrei left the room and crossed paths with a young woman named Nastia. After passing through the gate, he realized the music player was missing. The device carried deep personal meaning because it had been with him during hard times. He went back and found Oleg harassing Nastia. Seeing her cornered, Andrei quietly retrieved the player and wound the cable. When Oleg moved to intimidate him, Andrei struck with a sudden blow that dropped Oleg to the floor. Andrei acted quickly. He grabbed an ashtray, pulled out a telephone cord, pocketed a lighter, and guided Nastia out. Another officer tried to enter but was stopped by the flying ashtray. The sight of Andrei holding the cord made the others hesitate. They aimed their guns, but he used swift moves to knock them out. Nastia watched in shock as the Special Forces veteran overpowered the station. Before leaving, Andrei disassembled the officer's weapons and told her to wait outside while he fought the next group. After defeating them, he led her toward the emergency stairs. They met the deputy police chief on the way. Before the man could react, Andrei disabled him with 3 rapid strikes. His battlefield skills left every officer beaten. Outside, Andrei lit a cigarette for a policeman using the chief's lighter. Nastia trembled, aware that her involvement had placed him in grave danger. She urged him to escape alone. The officers soon recovered. Burning for revenge, Oleg ordered a pursuit. A motorcyclist gave chase, but Andrei seized the bike and sped away. Police cars followed, firing as they closed in. He dodged the bullets and turned onto a narrow road, forcing their shots to miss. Andrei rode down a slope, launched into the air, and ran toward a bulldozer. The pursuers fired their rifles and switched to pistols but failed to hit him. When they tried to flee in their car, Andrei drove the bulldozer into the vehicle. The impact crushed the front end and a truck slammed into the car from behind, setting off an explosion and flames. News of the station incident spread quickly. Even the police chief felt uneasy, unsure what kind of man they had faced. Soon word confirmed that Andrei was a Special Forces soldier with a Maroon Beret, 2 National Service Medals, and a Bravery Award. Andrei moved into the mountains, knowing the police would not stop. He was ready for a long fight. Oleg failed to see that his pursuit had already placed his men in danger. Andrei reached a ruined clearing in the forest. He gathered matches, electrical wire, rusty nails, and wood. While the police grumbled about camping in the rain, Andrei prepared traps. He tied nails to a wooden stick with wire and burned it to tighten the hold, then set the weapons at key points. He continued searching and found a small wooden house. Inside he collected metal plates and found a hidden passage. With everything in place he sat quietly, listening to his MP3 player and waiting. That night 2 policemen drank and decided to hunt alone. They hoped to surprise Andrei in the dark forest and claim a reward. Moving through the trees they saw a faint firelight. Thinking the target careless, they switched off their vehicle lights and approached the house. One officer tried to enter. A heavy plank swung down and struck his forehead. As he stumbled, his partner rushed forward and met a hard kick from Andrei. The man tried to fight but fell under blows from the wooden staff. Andrei chose not to kill them. Instead he forced them to handcuff each other near the campfire. They sat in confusion as he gave them a simple message for their major: stop the chase. The next morning Oleg realized 2 of his guards were missing. He ordered an immediate search. When his men reached the wooden house they found their own officers sitting inside with bruised faces. One officer tried to save face and claimed he had almost caught Andrei. He passed along the warning to stop the pursuit. Oleg grew furious and struck him, then told the troops to spread out and sweep the forest. As the police pushed through the rain-soaked woods, Andrei stayed ahead. 2 officers soon stumbled into his traps. He retrieved the weapons he had hidden, struck with precision, and shifted position before they could react. Gunfire erupted in confusion, and several men were nearly hit by their own side. Within minutes 3 officers were down. Andrei's presence seemed to move through the trees like a shadow. When one policeman tried to call out, Andrei struck again. Oleg led the hunt himself but faced a soldier trained in guerrilla warfare. The forest belonged to Andrei, and he disappeared each time they thought they had him. He soon returned to disable the guards watching the wounded men. When more officers arrived, they found their weapons dismantled and Andrei's knife at their throats. He forced them to free their teammates, told them to leave, and let them go unharmed. Oleg pushed on toward a narrow wooden bridge. The deputy chief warned him about refusing special forces support and wasting lives, which only deepened Oleg's anger. He ordered the deputy to cross the 2-log bridge. Andrei was ready. He triggered another trap as bullets flew harmlessly past. The deputy moved too slowly and fell, another casualty of the chase. Oleg changed tactics and waited for Andrei to come to him. The plan worked. As Andrei ran through the forest, Oleg stepped out to block his path. Andrei raised his weapon and attacked. The fight was brutal. Oleg suffered serious wounds and tried to retreat across the logs. He noticed a hidden weapon above, but failed to see Andrei closing in from behind. A final clash followed, gun against knife. Even with the kukri blade at his throat, Oleg refused to show fear. Andrei struck him across the face, dropped him to the ground, and walked away. Later, Oleg staggered down to the base of the mountain, breathing hard. A man in dark sunglasses waited for him. Oleg turned to leave without a word. The man was Colonel Dmitry from the Defense Intelligence Agency, Andrei's former trainer. He knew Andrei better than anyone and understood how rare it was for him to lose control. Dmitry warned the police chief to stop the chase. Andrei had spared their lives. If he wanted them dead, no one would leave the forest. Oleg ignored the advice and dismissed Dmitry. Soon a message arrived that the helicopter sent to capture Andrei would land in 15 minutes. Oleg ordered his forces to surround the area and entered the forest himself. The sound of rotor blades grew louder. Andrei stayed hidden as bullets raked the trees. Forced to keep moving, he reached a steep cliff and jumped without hesitation. From the air it looked as if he had been shot. Oleg remained unsatisfied and ordered the helicopter to sweep the river until the fuel was nearly gone. Later that afternoon, an old man named Vasil found Andrei on the riverbank. He carried him home and treated the wounds. Vasil's granddaughter turned out to be Nastia, the young woman Andrei had once rescued. Seeing his condition, she felt deep guilt, believing the chase was her fault. Vasil removed the bullet while Nastia stitched the wound. That night Andrei tried to leave to protect them. Nastia chose to follow, knowing that capture by the police chief would end her life. Andrei was still weak, so they stayed together in a small hay hut for the night. The next morning, armed fugitives reached the old man's house and killed him without a word. They were violent criminals already hunted by the police. Gunshots alerted Andrei. He prepared to fight, handed a knife to Nastia, and approached while pretending to be weak. One fugitive found Nastia hiding nearby. He acted friendly for a moment, then attacked. She fought back and stabbed him repeatedly. At the same time, Andrei overpowered the other intruders and followed the sounds to an animal pen. There he found Nastia with her face covered in blood. Another fugitive appeared and a brutal fight followed. The man was larger, but Andrei's combat skills prevailed. He seized the weapon and killed him. From that point, Andrei no longer held back. He would eliminate any threat. Soon police and special forces arrived. Seeing the 5 dead fugitives, Oleg knew Andrei had survived. He captured Nastia to draw him out, unaware that Andrei was watching. When Oleg raised his gun, Nastia shoved him, giving Andrei time to disappear. Special Forces Commander Denis arrived and rebuked the police chief, allowing Nastia to avoid further harm. Denis then received new orders to capture Andrei alive. The chase led into an abandoned building. Andrei was ready to surrender, but the team attacked with a stun weapon. He fought back and disabled their best fighters. Even Denis lost his grenade. Andrei spared their lives, rescuing Denis when he fell into the water, then escaped through a pipe. Oleg waited at the exit with his men, but their shots missed. Andrei jumped into a wooden house and the fight erupted again. Frustrated, Oleg fired a rocket and set the house on fire, certain Andrei was dead. Andrei survived by hiding in the basement. Later, a general visited Denis in the hospital. Nastia entered and told the story, helping the general understand the full situation. Meanwhile, Oleg returned to his office and found Colonel Dmitry waiting. Dmitry planned to stay close, expecting Andrei to appear for his MP3 player. He even urged Oleg to keep drinking and finish the bottle himself so that when Andrei came, he would feel no fear. Not far away, police discovered a hidden tunnel and moved down the stairs with weapons ready. Guns immediately aimed back at them. At the same time, Andrei, dressed in a police uniform, walked toward a parked car and took the driver's phone. When the driver stepped out, Andrei struck him unconscious and stole the vehicle. 2 policemen who tried to follow were quickly knocked down. A guard watching television jumped when the door burst open. Andrei had found the police chief. Outside, special forces surrounded the area. Colonel Dmitry entered and informed Andrei that a large unit waited nearby. Dmitry urged him to surrender and return to Moscow, but Andrei refused. His anger ran deep. He despised seeing people strangled by corruption and forced to bow to abusive officers. In his view, every citizen had a duty to fight for a better life, or the sacrifices of his comrades would mean nothing. Despite his fury, Andrei released Oleg and sat calmly, ready to face the troops. The general soon arrived and ordered all units to stand down. As officers moved to arrest Oleg, he grabbed Nastia and held her at gunpoint. Smoke filled the room. Andrei stepped from the haze and confronted him. After a tense standoff, Oleg dropped his weapon, knowing escape was impossible even if he killed. Peace returned to the small town. Under orders from his superiors, Andrei prepared to leave with Colonel Dmitry for Moscow. Nastia, now in love with Andrei, watched in silence as the car carried him away. The story closes with her standing alone while the vehicle disappears into the distance. So the moral of the story is never mess with a quiet guy carrying an MP3 player, because he might outsmart the entire police force and still make it home for a smoke.